If you're anything like me, you have been absolutely hooked on Stardew Valley at least once in your life. Stardew Valley possibly consumed your every thought, begging you to come back and tend to your farm instead of doing responsible things like chores. I constantly crave bringing that feeling that Stardew Valley gives me into my real life, and that is why today I have begun my quest to collect Stardew Valley items in real life, starting with every single flower. I'm envisioning recreating these flowers pixel for pixel so I can hold in my hand the exact Stardew Valley item, and I can feel like I just harvested my little summer bouquet. That is the goal, so let's get started. Going over the materials for this project, very simple. So I got these little like 1 centimeter wooden cubes off of Amazon. I went for the 1 centimeter size because I did not want these to be humongoid. These were pretty cheap. I got 1,000 1 centimeter wood cubes for this project. They did not come primed either, so gosh dang it. So I took them out to the garage and gave them a little coating of a white primer. That step maybe wasn't completely necessary, but I wanted the paints to look as vibrant and colorful as possible, and having a white base for that is key. The next main material in this project, of course, is paint. I really like the Winsor & Newton Galleria acrylic paints. I like the amount of pigment that they have, and that saved a lot of time with not having to do several layers. I ended up having to do 2 or 3 layers depending on the color. These give you a lot of pigment and I really like them. And the last thing that I need for this project, of course, is some form of glue to keep these cubes together. I went with a crafter's favorite, hot glue. Another option is to use something like a wood glue. However, this takes a lot longer to dry and I was not about to sit around and wait for it to dry. So I just went with the hot glue because that's quick and easy. Now comes the fun part, which is assembling the flowers or painting them. So I came at a little bit of a crossroads here. So I could either glue all the cubes together at once in the shape of the flower and then paint, or I could paint each individual pixel color first and then assemble the flower afterwards. Now, both of these methods could work. However, I wanted some crisp lines, and I did not want to go and tediously paint in every single square after the flower would have been assembled. So I opted for painting first, assembling later. And we're starting with the sweet pea. So the sweet pea is actually a summer forageable, but it is categorized as a flower in Stardew Valley. It is also part of the community center's summer foraging bundle. That is a tongue twister. Sandy absolutely loves it as a gift, and if you really hate Clint, you can give it to him because he dislikes it. I think the sweet pea is a really cute flower, and I like that it's a forageable and generally liked by most of the villagers as a gift. All of the pieces are painted, now it's just time to assemble them. Next, I'm making the tulip. So I'm doing something a little bit different this time for the tulip. For each color, I'm counting the amount of pixels that are that color and I'm painting them each individually, and then I will line them up later, because at least with the sweet pea, I lined up all the pixels and then it kind of got all jumbled as I was painting it. So I feel like this is going to be a lot more efficient, painting it first and then organizing it later. So the tulip does have several options for colors. However, I decided to go with this one. This is so much quicker. I don't know why I did it the other way to start. The only annoying thing is if I miscount, I'm gonna have to go back and paint an additional one, but that won't be a big deal because I'm saving a lot of time by doing it this way. So the tulip is a spring flower, and fun fact, you can plant it near a bee house and it will make the honey better into tulip honey, which is a higher sell value than the base honey. Evelyn absolutely loves the tulip as a gift, and per usual, Clint does not like it. The tulip is also surprisingly a really good option for energy restoration. Its base value is 45, and if you have an iridium one, it's 117, so that's quite a bit. Next we have the blue jazz. The blue jazz has a lot of color options as well. I obviously went with blue. And the blue jazz is yet another flower that elevates the base value of honey into blue jazz honey. In case you're wondering, I'm watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I never used to watch any reality TV. The person that actually got me into watching reality TV was Drew. He and his mom would watch a bunch of reality TV, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I think was their main guilty pleasure. When I lived with them for a bit, we would just have nights where we would watch reality TV, and that's how I got into watching reality TV. My main ones that I watch are Love Island, and now I've been watching Secret Lives of Modern Wives. There's also a show that I watch, I don't know I think it's called Below Deck. I called it the boat show because I would always forget what it was called, but I'm pretty sure it's actually called Below Deck, and it's about like really rich people renting out this fancy yacht and the staff that basically manages it. It's about the drama with the staff. Although I haven't watched the boat show in a while. That stem is a wee bit crooked, but that's okay. There's not any villagers that love the blue jazz as a gift. They all like it, except for Clint, George, and Sebastian. You guys kind of suck. Flowers are cool. It's also an ingredient for making Lucky Lunch, which I love doing because if you have a lucky day and you eat a Lucky Lunch for a +3 buff, you're going mining and you're finding a lot of stuff, okay? Little pro tip for you. Next up, the summer spangle. So the summer spangle is a flower that is grown in, you guessed it, the summer. And I don't know if you knew this, but if it's in proper range of the bee house, it makes summer spangle honey. The color options for the summer spangle are probably my favorite because it's literally every color of the rainbow. And I went with this, I think it's orange / flesh tone. I went with it because it was the most different from all the other colors that I had already done. But if I had to pick a favorite, I would say it was this teal color here. I will say, if you're harvesting summer spangle to, say, gift to a villager, such as Caroline, who loves summer spangle, if you're harvesting summer spangle, get ready to have an inventory full of summer spangle because not only are there 6 different colors, there's also 4 different qualities. So that's a total of 24 possible inventory spots taken up by summer spangle. So your pockets are just stuffed with summer spangle, ready to gift to every villager, including Clint, because he dislikes them.
And we dislike Clint.
I'd like to take a quick break here to thank our YouTube and Patreon members. If you haven't checked it out yet, check out our YouTube memberships or our Patreon memberships. They both offer the same thing, which is extended versions of YouTube videos, early access to YouTube videos, discounts on our shop, and much more. The poppy's next. It is a summer flower, and it is very controversial in Pelican Town because literally everybody hates it as a gift except for Penny. Penny loves it as a gift. And I personally do not understand why does everybody hate the poppy. For the poppy, of course, we do have a couple color options. We have red, orange, and white. I obviously went with the red because I feel like when I think of a poppy, I think of a red flower. It's not really a cool story. It's just, that's why I picked red. And I bet you never guessed it. You can put it next to a bee house and make poppy honey. The poppy is also used in the chef's bundle. So I have a little predicament here at the poppy. As you can see by this photo, the pixels are not like fully connected to another pixel, if that makes sense. So I have to figure out a different way to connect it because I just don't think hot glue is gonna be enough. So I am gonna try to use some wood glue. It does take a lot longer to dry, but I think it'll have a better chance of staying if I can do that. I think I'm gonna lay down some tape. That'll hold it together while I add the glue. I'm also going to reinforce these points that only have a single point of connection, just because I feel like that will be a problem later on, so I might as well fix it now. The poppy is also used to make poppy seed muffins. Everybody either likes or loves. I don't get the hate for poppy. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon.
"2,000 years later."
All right, so the glue is dry on the poppy. I've let it sit for around 24 hours. Just gonna carefully peel off the tape. I do have to trim these little flakes, but it seems to have worked. The glue is trimmed up. I think that looks pretty good. So although I do think that this is pretty secure. I'm still going to add a bit of wire to reinforce it. So I cut these little tiny pieces and I'm just gonna glue them with hot glue basically and reinforce these joints here. I think that looks pretty good from both sides. You can barely tell that it's there. The sunflower. I really like growing the sunflower because it's a really good gift for most people, except of course Clint, George, and Sebastian. Haley absolutely loves it, and one of the benefits is when you pick a sunflower, there's a chance that it drops seeds, which you can then use to plant more sunflowers. And it also grows summer and fall, so you can just have this constant stream of sunflowers that you can gift to villagers throughout those 2 seasons. It's also used in the dye bundle for the community center, and you can use it in the oil maker to make oil. And you can also use the sunflower to make, you guessed it, sunflower honey. Next we have another one of my favorites, the fairy rose. The fairy rose is a fall flower, which takes a surprising amount of time to grow, 12 days. For the color of the fairy rose, I decided to go with lavender because I love lavender. I also really like it because you can use it to make, of course, fairy rose honey. However, it is the most profitable of all the honeys. It takes the base value of honey from 100 gold to 680 gold. So if you want to make good money with the fairy rose, use it to make good honey. Evelyn and Jazz love the fairy rose as a gift, and you already know who doesn't like it. I don't gotta say it again. And I'm actually just now learning this, but if you have a diamond and a fairy rose, you can use it to make fairy dust, which you can use on various refining equipment to immediately receive the product. So it just kind of speeds up the process a bit. And fairy roses, when harvesting, they are just as annoying as the summer spangle. There's 6 different colors, 4 different qualities, which means you could take up to 24 inventory spots with these things. I mean, I'm not mad if I have a pocket full of fairy rose, but you might be. I don't know how you play the game. And really fun fact, if you have at least 1 fairy rose on the farm at the end of the day, you increase a chance of a crop fairy coming by from 1% to 1.7%. This angle really shows off how messy my desk is. However, we are moving on to the last flower, which is the only winter flower, and it is the crocus. You can see how many layers of green that I have been adding to these pots. I forgot to mention I had to go to the store yesterday to buy green because I was out of green. Now I will not be out of green, but I'm on the last flower, so. Okay, honestly, I think this is the closest I've gotten to the actual colors, so I'm pretty dang proud. And it is indeed edible, although it does absolutely nothing. You'll eat it, will not increase health or energy. You can just eat it. Sandy loves it as a gift, and I don't know if you knew this, but Clint, George, and Sebastian all dislike it. Yep, I know. I didn't know that either. Wouldn't have guessed. And now with all the flowers done, I wanted to finish up the edges a bit. It didn't look bad, but I didn't want to have just the white bare on the sides with all the little paint splatches. Did I just make up words? I don't know. Splatches. Splotches? So I decided to take this dark green color, which I thought matched pretty well with all the flowers. The name. Yeah. And then I just painted that on the border. Now, if I would have prepared ahead, I would have preferred to bring the color down from the bordering pixels, but I did not think of that, and I was not about to mix up a bunch more colors and match them, so I just went with a solid green border all the way around. I'm not mad with how it turned out. I think it looks pretty good. One thing I do want to do before hanging these is varnish the top with a matte varnish. For example, the poppy, the top is pretty glossy and I don't want light to kind of alter how this looks. You do have to shake matte varnish pretty well, because I find that whatever makes it matte kind of settles to the bottom, and if you don't really shake it up, you'll get a mix between a glossy and a matte varnish when you apply it to the actual piece. And I'm just doing a very thin coat. Try to also get as much of that hot glue off as possible to avoid eternally sealing it with the varnish. So now that I have all of them painted, now I need to figure out how to hang them. So I initially had some hanging hardware and I wanted to use these tooth things that you put a little nail in the wall and then you hook it onto that. A lot of picture frames have them. However, I don't appear to have enough. I have 6 of these, but I have 8 flowers. I think instead of doing that, I'm going to do a little bit of an easy way out, but command strips. So these ones specifically are little Velcro ones. I don't want the little pull tab to be visible, and I like these because you can take them off the wall before peeling down the little command strip tab, if that makes sense. And I don't want a command strip tab to be visible on these because I want them to just be like flush against the wall. I'm gonna put one of these on the back of each of these, and then we should be able to hang them after that. The only one I might have some difficulty with is the poppy because of the metal bars in the back, but I'm hoping that these are thick enough that it won't really matter. So I have one of the flowers here, and I think I'm just going to stick a command strip like in the center-ish, like that. And then when I'm ready to hang it, I'll just peel this part off. I had a really fun time making these. I really like incorporating my nerdy interests into my decor, and I really want to do more crafts like this, so if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I really enjoy reading those and getting ideas from you guys. Cool. I really like these. As you can see, there's no light kind of shining off them because of the matte top coat. I think they turned out really good, and honestly, I think I like the command strip hanging. Success. If you like this video, I also have this video where Maid's cosplay armor for the first time. I'll see you after your next quest, adventurer.